Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then, the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and Thursday is Halloween, as I'm sure you know. Now, I really like Halloween. I have a friend who is in charge of a Halloween parade / community event at her place of work, and she didn't like Halloween to begin with, and then she got put in charge of this event, and she sent me a text the other day and said that they were 300 pounds short of the 1,200 pounds of candy they needed. Holy buckets, that's a lot of candy. And this is in Montana, so it's not even that big of a town, but 1,200 pounds of candy. Maybe that's not as much as I think it is, but isn't it like a ton of candy? Literally, not just, that's not just hyperbole. Anyway, so Halloween is coming, and I like Halloween. I like more cute, silly, quirky Halloween than gross, gory, icky Halloween, but to each their own. Being as it's Halloween week, we are going to start with some weird news, some Halloween-y type weird news stories, and then depending on time, we'll see about some just, regular weird news stories. One of my, actually favorite weird news stories, it's a little weird, is one that showed up on my social media recently. It's a story from the site Bored Panda, and it is about a daddy-daughter photo shoot, which seems sweet enough. And it is sweet in kind of a weird, slightly creepy sort of way. And this is a daddy-daughter zombie photo shoot. The daughter in question is 11-month-old Oakley, and she is just the most adorable little zombie that you have ever seen. So her mother, Tiffany Renfro, is a photographer, and she tells the story that she recently went on a trip with baby Oakley, who is the youngest of 3 children. They have a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old. They went to Oregon to visit some family who hadn't seen the new baby yet, and one of her friends did a mommy-daughter photo shoot for them. And when they got home, Dad was being silly and whiny about how he didn't get a daddy-daughter photo shoot, and that's just not right. So Mom, who also had been tagged in a bunch of sort of horror-themed photo shoot ideas on social media, decided that she could do something like that. She is, as I said, she's a photographer, and her family also really likes horror movies. Her husband apparently has a Michael Myers mask that he wears. She jokes that he wears it to bed sometimes, but he's a big fan of Michael Myers and horror movies, and their kids are as well. In fact, he and the 5-year-old like to watch Walking Dead together. She says at first she was worried about her kids being scared, but they're really more intrigued by it all. They don't get scared by horror movies. They actually sit there and pick out sort of arty elements in horror movies, and, the kind of crazy, over-the-top, ridiculous props that some classic horror movies utilize, and they just really have a good time with it. So she thought, okay, in honor of Daddy and the 5-year-old's watching of The Walking Dead, they would do a zombie-themed photo shoot. And the first picture I saw was this little 11-month-old, and, she's dressed up in kind of an old-fashioned little dress, and she has a great makeup and what looks like contacts. Tiffany is very clear that they are not contacts. That was photoshopped. My first thought was they did not put contacts in that baby's eyes. Followed immediately by, I'm sure they did not. It has to be photoshopped. So, Tiffany Renfro wrote, I must have gotten tagged in the baby bloodbath pic like too many times to count. I wanted to do something, but wanted something original. Plus, Daniel was a little salty, like margarita rim salty, that I got a mommy and me session while visiting family and friends in Oregon. So here it is, his daddy-daughter session. Scroll through them all. Michael Myers might just rescue this sweet zombie baby. So in addition to the zombie photo shoot, Michael Myers does make an appearance, but I am pretty sure baby zombie Oakley will take Michael Myers in this case. She writes, no babies were harmed in this process. No contacts were used. Eyes were edited. Although it makes me giggle because trying to picture putting contacts on an 11-month-old is hilarious when I can't even wrangle her to change a diaper some days. No babies were scared in this process. Our children are used to the mask, the Michael Myers mask. Daddy wears it to bed practically. They are used to dressing up, and Oakley is no different. Although she is intrigued by everything, she is not scared. If anything, she was mad I wouldn't give her all of the gut goodies. Yeah, there's a picture of her eating her father's hand, supposedly. Tiffany says she made all of the guts and body parts were edible, so it's okay that she was eating her daddy's hand. Caden, who is 10, and Gib, who is 5, were also behind the scenes helping. All props were edible, made by yours truly. She said, add me at Tiflin Photography. My only dream out of all of this is to reach Ellen DeGeneres. Heart emoji, laughing emoji. Daddy and Caden love The Walking Dead, so anything to do with them would be their dream. Oh, I guess it's the 10-year-old he watches The Walking Dead with. My apologies. Daniel wants to be the next Michael Myers. Gibson and Oakley's dream is to just have some more Duncan Hines cake. Oh, and the pictures are creepy. There are pictures of Dad with his supposed guts spilling out, and baby zombie just kind of sitting there staring creepily or, investigating. The headline cracks me up because it says, zombie, let's see, what does it say? I want to get it right. I have to scroll up. Mom turns her baby into a zombie for a horror photo shoot, and the kid absolutely nails it. And when I first read that, I thought, well, she's a baby. What is she possibly doing? No, this kid absolutely nails it. She is the most adorable, creepy little zombie baby you've ever seen. And, granted, Mama takes some very good pictures, and I'm sure she waited till just the right lighting and stuff, but the baby's expressions are hilarious. And then she is actually, she's sitting next to gross dead Dad with his guts coming out and eating parts of him, and she picks up his hand and starts nibbling on that. Then later on, Dad wakes up and he is a zombie as well. Oh no, because guts are spilling out. There was no headshot. The baby's face is just cracking me up. Sorry, I know you can't see what I'm looking at, but then Daddy's a zombie, and then they put on the Michael Myers mask, and so baby zombie is sitting in the woods, and you can see a blurry shape behind her. As it gets closer, you see that it's Michael Myers, and then Michael Myers with his knife picks up the baby, but I'm telling you, the baby is going to win this contest. She's just going to bite Michael Myers, and that will be that. Zombie, I don't know, is zombie Michael Myers worse? Probably. It is adorable. It's a little bit creepy, but that baby, it's true. The headline, the headline actually captures it. The baby nails it. Mama actually nailed it. I know. Mom did some wonderful photography. I don't think that this is necessarily a photo shoot that I would like for my house. This isn't a picture these aren't pictures I necessarily want to put on my piano or my mantle. But they are artistic. They are beautiful in a creepy, eerie sort of way. And, even as a zombie, that baby is absolutely freaking adorable. So you should definitely, if you're interested, Google them to find or to see for yourself, rather than just listening to me describe baby zombie eating her daddy's guts and looking adorable while doing it. So we're going to go ahead and take our first break of the podcast. And when we come back, more zombies, this time riding bikes. Stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, and I'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Before the break, I was gushing about adorable baby zombie Oakley and that photo shoot, and now we have another story involving zombies, and this is another Florida story. My goodness, why are so many weird news stories in Florida? I really don't know, but hey, it works for this podcast. So this is from October 22nd, when about 11,000 people donned costumes and got on their bicycles for the zombie bike ride. This was in Key West, Florida, and organized by the annual Fantasy Fest event in Key West. So this was a Sunday evening event along the Atlantic shoreline and streets of Key West. It featured somewhere around 11,000 people in zombie costumes and makeup pedaling together to the annual Zombie Fest street party on Duval Street. 11,000 zombies on bikes. I mean, that is amazing. And if you look at the video and the pictures, there are various levels of zombitude going on here. Some of them don't look so much like zombies. They just look like they put on whatever they had or the weirdest things that they had. But hey, it's people in costume. The zombies were joined by a smattering of skeletons, evil clowns, and other spooky Halloween-themed ghouls, along with some just plain weird-looking things. That's my commentary. That wasn't in the article. The 10-day Fantasy Fest, which runs through Sunday, also includes a pet masquerade, the exotic headdress ball, themed costume contests, and an evening parade. 11,000 people on bikes, I think, is pretty darn amazing anyway, but 11,000 people in costume on bikes, whether they are zombies or not, is, that's an achievement right there. That is a lot of zombies. And now I kind of want Walking Dead to do a zombies on bike scene, although zombies really shouldn't be able to ride bikes. Actually, zombies shouldn't be able to do some of the things they sometimes do on The Walking Dead, but that's just me. I don't know. It's not like I'm a zombie expert. I've never met a zombie. I think zombie babies are adorable, apparently, but I do not know about zombies riding bikes. So don't quote me. Let's move from zombies to ghosts, sort of. And this is a story from Ireland, where a man spoke from beyond the grave. Or did he? Mourners who attended the funeral of a man in Ireland were left in shock when they heard his voice from beyond the grave. Let me out, it's effing dark in here, cried Shay Bradley from his coffin as it was being lowered into the ground in Kilmanagh, Kilkenny on the 12th of October. No, that's just awful. That is not a good practical joke. That would scare the snot out of a lot of people. In the pre-recorded message, the voice continued, "Where the F am I? Is that a priest I can hear? This is Shay. I'm in the box." He then sang, "Hello again. Hello, hello. I just called to say goodbye." Ensuring that he got the last laugh at his own send-off, the 62-year-old Irish Defence Force veteran had his family and friends in fits of giggles rather than tears. That is some planning ahead. Mr. Bradley's daughter, Andrea Bradley, said he'd been sick for 3 years before he died on October 8th and had planned his prank over the last year. That's a good sense of humor, and also just, wow, lucky nobody had a heart attack or anything. His daughter told Sky News he was always full of life and he was big in stature, but even bigger in personality. Wow. I've done some funerals, and hopefully the priest was in on this, because if I were doing a funeral and all of a sudden a voice started coming from the casket, I don't know how I would have reacted. I mean, would I have laughed? Would I have screamed? I don't even know, but it's a good prank. Not sure how I would react, and it sounds like the mourners got a kick out of it. It doesn't seem like anybody was too freaked out, so they, either they knew about his wacky sense of humor, or they are used to voices coming out of caskets at funerals. I don't know. It's Ireland. They have more supernatural stuff, right? All right, haunted houses. Are you a fan? I am not. I realize that they're fake, but I still don't like things jumping out at me. It's more of the I know it's coming kind of thing, so I work myself into a panic in the process. But there is a haunted house in existence that apparently is so scary that it requires a 40-page waiver and a physical exam. No, thank you. This is in Tennessee, and it is billed as the scariest haunted house in the world. It does require that 40-page waiver. You're required to pass a physical and undergo a background check, and no one apparently has ever finished the attraction. Wow. That's got to be so boring for the people at the end, the actors or whoever you've got in the end. Nobody ever finishes it, so they're like, well, here I am, wait to scare people. Never gotten to do it. So Russ McCamey, who is owner of McCamey Manor in Summertown, said the price of admission is only a bag of food for his 5 dogs, and the prize for finishing is $20,000. But no one has ever collected the prize money. Wow, a bag of dog for his 5 dogs, a bag of food for his 5 dogs. Okay, not bad. Interested visitors must first complete a sports physical, sign a 40-page waiver, pass a drug test, provide proof of medical insurance, and prove they are at least 21 years old. The visitors must then watch a 2-hour video called And Then There Were None, which features footage of every visitor from July 2017 and August 2019 quitting before the end of the experience. Visitors leave by uttering the code phrase, "You really don't want to do this." McCamey said the key to inspiring terror is a mind game that relies on hypnotism to have visitors tricked by their own minds. He said each experience is video recorded to prove to visitors and authorities that nothing illegal took place. When I use the hypnosis, I can put you in a kiddie pool with a couple inches of water and tell you there's a great white shark in there, and you're going to think there's a shark in there, he told WFLA TV. Okay, so it sounds like there isn't some sad little actor at the end wishing that he or she could actually scare someone. And so when you have that kind of power over people and have them do and see things that you want them to see, then they can leave here thinking it really happened, and they'll go to the authorities and say, oh, whatever, and I have to come back and show the footage and say it didn't go that way at all. Wow. Wow. I don't want to go be hypnotized into believing there's a great white shark in my kiddie pool. So if you want to know more about this, there are a bunch of videos on YouTube, people talking about it, people talking about the other videos on YouTube. I mean, there's a bunch of videos. I didn't watch all of them, but the 2-hour videos that I mentioned at the beginning that they're supposed to watch, you can find on YouTube. There's some videos of people saying that it's being exposed, that it's just people, this just actually tortures the guests. There are a lot of different viewpoints on this. So, it's just the description of one says this is the stuff he won't show you on YouTube. There's no money, no manner, no actors. All it is some old guy who makes you play around with a bunch of trash in his yard after telling you have to stay up the whole night. Let's see. The night before, he makes you do impossible tasks like find your way around his yard. Okay, so that's the description of this video. I have no proof of that, but there are a bunch, if you want to go poking around about this story, you certainly can. I I don't know. I don't know the truth about it. I'm not going to go, but, well, apparently people are still going to go check it out. Some people really like this kind of stuff, and other people want to go try and figure out what is going on. I do not know what's going on. I do not know. It's not a haunted house as the first article made it sound. It's more of it sounds like an experience, if you want to call it that. But do some research, look it up yourself, see what you think. I don't care if it's real or not. I'm not going. We're going to take our second break of the podcast, and when we come back, we'll be wrapping up this episode. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, and I'll be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. We are talking about some sort of Halloween-related stories on today's episode. This next story is not exactly Halloween. Well, I mean, it's sort of Halloween fall related. You know how everything this time of year is pumpkin spice. There's pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin spice, cough syrup. I don't know. Everything's pumpkin spice. But a Tennessee farmer has taken the pumpkin theme to a whole new level. He grew a 910-pound pumpkin, first of all. I find that to be really, really amazing. I know Hagrid grew really big pumpkins, but he used an engorgement smell. I don't think this guy is Hagrid and has a broken wand hidden in a pink umbrella. But this guy grew a 910-pound pumpkin and then celebrated that achievement by turning it into a kayak. Would it be a kayak? Would it be, I don't know, what would be the technical watercraft term for a giant pumpkin? So Kristen Ownby posted video to Facebook showing her husband, Justin Ownby, taking the hollowed out pumpkin for a float on their Cleveland property. He has tried for 4 years to grow giant pumpkins, she told WTVC TV. This year is his biggest at 910 pounds. We do this on our farm in Cleveland. We occasionally grow lots of pumpkins, but this year he put all of his work into one. Well, he babied his little pumpkin. Not little. 910 pounds. Holy buckets. She said the pumpkin was grown from a seed that came from the largest pumpkin on record in Tennessee, weighing in at more than 1,700 pounds. So it's the baby of a giant pumpkin, but it was not, it didn't grow to be as big as its parent pumpkin. At any rate, there is video of Justin paddling around in his giant pumpkin gourd. I mean, I would like to know why he decided to turn it into a float. I don't know. Is there not a fair he could enter it in? Doesn't say. Maybe there's more to this story that we're just not hearing about. But he is very happily paddling around in his pumpkin. It's pumpkin paddling. Paddling a pumpkin? I don't know. I do like alliteration. But congrats, Justin. That is a very large pumpkin. I am impressed. I find the pumpkin boat hilarious. I don't claim to understand it though. So, wow, now he's spinning in circles. He is very much enjoying this giant pumpkin paddle that he is on. At any rate, that I think is a good note to wrap up the Halloween type, stories that we have for this episode. We're not quite done yet, so let's talk about a story that Heidi and possibly Ariane, I'm not sure if she was on that episode last year, talked about. That is the the bear contest, the fat bear contest that goes on, where you can go and watch the live webcams and vote on your favorite fat bear. Well, the winner this year has been announced. This is in Katmai National Park in Alaska, and they ask people to come and vote for their favorite fat bear. This time of year, bears are preparing to hibernate, so they are trying to get as fat as possible. And you can go and then vote for your favorite. Oh, I know bears aren't cute. Bears are deadly, and they can kill you and eat you. But for some, I don't know, pictures of big fat roly-poly bears, they are sort of cute as long as they're on the internet and I'm not facing them out in the actual wilderness where they could kill me. A bear compared to the Michelin Man has been crowned this year's winner of the Fat Bear competition. And of course, this bear has become an internet sensation because that's what happens when you win this contest. You become an internet sensation. All the bears are hoping to do it. Katmai National Park and Preserve in Alaska asked people to vote on its Facebook page for their favorite rotund grizzly. The contest featured 12 brown bears who had grown in size after gorging on salmon as they prepare to hibernate during the winter months. After more than 187,000 votes, a grandmother bear called Holly was announced as the winner of the contest. Good job, Holly. All hail Holly, whose healthy heft will help her hibernate until the spring, the park said in a Facebook post. Thank you for the alliteration, Katmai National Park. I love that. Long live the queen of corpulence. Oh, see, they're not fat shaming Holly. She needs to do this for survival. Katmai Park Ranger Naomi Boak, who managed the competition, said, "She's just a great bear. When she doesn't have cubs, she looks like the Michelin Man." Oh, poor little. Bears typically lose about a third of their body weight during their winter sleep, so the body fat they take on in the summer and autumn is crucial to their survival. Katmai Park is heavily populated with salmon along with different types of berries. Female bears typically put on about 600 pounds before their sleep. Wow. Holly is well known to fans of the park and has been seen on its bear cam by millions of people. She previously adopted a cub which had been abandoned by its mother, something which is rare among the species, prompting Miss Boak to nickname Holly Supermom. The number of votes during this year's Fat Bear contest was 3 times that of last year's contest. So it's definitely gaining in popularity. I never remember it until it's announced, and then I go and look at the winner. But next year I should try to remember earlier so that I too can go vote for my favorite fat bear. Because they're cute. I know that they're not. I know. You don't have to tell me that they are dangerous, but they're also cute. Last story of this episode. And, there's all kinds of stories about people returning really, really, really overdue library books. In fact, Shel Silverstein even wrote a poem about overdue library books. It goes something like, what do I do? What do I do? This library book is 39 years overdue. I don't remember the exact year. I admit that it's mine, but I can't pay the fine. What do I do? What do I do? That I may be remembering that incorrectly, but it's something along that line. Well, this is a California woman who was cleaning out her study and found a library book that her mother had actually checked out 74 years earlier. And she returned it. 74 years ago, they did not have computers. They were not on an automated system. So I wonder if there's even records of this. This was in Berkeley, and Berkeley Library, I used to have a Berkeley Library card. Anyway, Berkeley Library workers said they were surprised when Jean Durham brought in a copy of Sir Walter Scott's Lady of the Lake that her mother had checked out in 1945. My mother did buy some books, but mostly she came to the Berkeley Public Library. We were always surrounded by books. Library officials said there was no fine, as the facility did away with late fees in 2018. Oh, no late fees. How do they get books to be returned? I don't even know. Interesting. So no fine. Well, I mean, really, how can you even calculate a fine for a book that's 74 years overdue that they probably didn't even remember had been checked out 74 years ago. But hey, that is an old book, and if it's in good condition, then they don't even need the fine because now they have a potentially, I have no idea. I don't know. It's not a first edition. It's been checked out, so it's probably not in the best of condition, but it's still old. It's still a book that is possibly worth some money. I don't know. The story's good anyway. I love libraries. I love checking books out of libraries. I grew up loving the library. I will love the library for my whole life. My dad is a retired librarian, so I am just happy when books are returned. And I actually watched a video the other day. That would be a good weird news story. I'll have to remember that. Librarians making up songs. One of them was, this one was now I can't remember, but it was all about returning your books. And it was very cleverly done, but I can't remember which song it was covering because I watched a bunch of them. I'll have to look that up for you and put that on another Weird News episode. Thank you so much for joining me for this Weird News episode. Our next episode will be on Friday, of course, and I don't know. Maybe there will be some more weird news of a Halloween theme that happens over the week. There probably will be. So join me on Friday and we'll be talking about weird things, whether they're Halloween related or not. In the meantime, have a great week and stay weird.